can I have your attention, please? If your name is Anthony Ogun, please come to the stage.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Can you hear me? Hello everyone, thank you very much for being here. Just to let you know that we are going to start very soon. So if you can make sure that if you have any questions and you have your cards, if you can hand those in for the Fireside Chat, and we are getting ready to start very shortly.
Yes, again, do you guys have like cards to write your questions down? Because there are a lot of people here. Okay,
you don't have them?
Yeah, they'll be handing those cards out shortly. And because, and we're going to be taking questions just randomly, kind of like a lottery. But again, we'd like to welcome each and every one of you for coming out. Normally, and you guys didn't do Naija time, so please give yourselves a round of applause. That's, yeah. Normally, we are waiting for you guys to get here, but you guys are here on time. His Excellency is here, so we'll be starting very shortly. Once again, thank you so much for your patience. Yes, we can introduce ourselves. Yeah, officially, no, not now. Officially before we start. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So I think they should be handing out the cards soon. And please just write whatever question you have. Speak from the heart, and we'll be starting very shortly. Thank you very much. Can we get some music? Yes. You want to talk Twitter? You have it? Okay. What's the account on Twitter, though? The Twitter handle, Naija We Can. Okay. We also have a Twitter handle. It's at Naija We Can, NAIJAWECAN. And we can please use the same hashtag, Naija We Can. And definitely Naija We Can for sure. Okay, so I see them passing around some cue cards. please just write those questions, and if you can pass them to once you have your question written down, pass them to the last person at the end of your row, and we'll be collecting those questions. Thank you very much. Anything else? No, say something.
So we just want to say thank you again for being here. It's a Sunday, it's a holiday weekend, and the fact that there are so many of you here is really testament to your commitment to Nigeria and to Nigeria's future and to the continent as a whole. So myself, I'm Lola. I'm going to be your co-MC for the day with Humble Prince. So thank you very much. Hopefully you'll have a great time and find it a very informative afternoon.
Thank you very much, guys. We'll be starting very soon. Thank you.
Can I have your attention, please? Can I have your attention, please? If you are standing, please, we need you to be seated. If you are standing, please, we need you to be seated. Thank you.
Hello.
I'm Brandon. What's your name?
Lola. Lola? Yes. Nice to meet you too.
This is just for recording. It has nothing to do with like the sound here. It's just for the backup.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to put this right
Sure.
here.
That would be great, so we can get started.
please, we'd like to have everyone seated at this time. We're about to start. Sound check good? Or do you need it again? Okay.
They're recording, by the way, so there's an extra mic on here.
Okay.
And then I'm going to start, right? To get started, let's introduce the
Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting in exactly 4 minutes, so please, if you have your seats, just sit down, relax, and unwind as we kick off this monumental event. I think the people want to hear from Nolai. They love that accent.
No. But yes, again, thank you so much for being here. We really just are looking forward to getting started. So if we can close the doors in the back and everyone who's standing can come and sit down, that would be amazing. Want to see everyone seated at this point, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, once again, please have your questions filled out in the card given to you. Like I said, because there are a lot of people here, we'll be asking the questions randomly. But I think we'll screen the questions before, so we don't want anybody asking, some out-of-the-park question. Please remember the Twitter handle is at Naija We Can. Make sure you tweet about the event, talk about it, and please remember to use the hashtag Naija We Can. Thank you.
Okay, 4 minutes. Are you ready?
I'm the handsome humble prince. You're right. I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, we just got word from management that we're taking all the questions now. This is the last call. Yes, this is it. We're not taking questions during or after the event. So please, this is your time now. Also, can we please have everyone's phone on silent? We don't mind you guys recording, doing your Facebook lives, Instagram lives, and all that. But please, when you do so with your pictures, videos, make sure we're using the hashtag Naija We Can. And that's also the Twitter handle. And if you look to the big screens on your right and left, at the bottom, it's strategically placed there at Naija We Can. Once again, thank you all for coming. And we'll be kicking this off any moment now. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, the photographer's here then.
Yeah, like product placement. I'm going to get a picture of, I was doing the fist bump and everything.
Right.
Oh, you left me hanging.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know.
Strategically, yeah. So,
Okay, we ready? I know.
okay.
So you hear when the doors close, it changes the energy of the room.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're trained. I'm from the streets. Because once we read their bios, don't they have to come up on stage afterwards and talk?
But this person is not coming. He's not here. So I'm going to read this. But then it was coming.
reads Ivoire's, she comes up. Ivoire's not even here. Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please, at this time, we need some decorum in the room. We need everyone to be seated at this time so we can start the event. You know, I gave you guys your props earlier for arriving here on time. You didn't do Naija time, no African time, but please, you guys are taking away from it. So please, we want everybody to be seated, and we would like to start. We're going to be starting momentarily. And please, once we introduce His Excellency, please, we want everybody to be seated as well. You can take pictures and everything, but please do so while you're sitting. And please do not block the main videographers or the main photographers, please. We have a barrier right there. Please make sure you do not cross it. Thank you very much.
As I said, I'm Lola, your co-MC for the day. I am obviously born and raised in New Jersey. Jokes from London. But obviously Nigerian descent, and I've spent my career at the intersection of politics and popular culture as a social and political commentator, broadcaster, and writer with 2 degrees from Cambridge University. And now I'm using my love for social activism in the music business as well as a singer-songwriter. And my co-MC is...
Good afternoon. My name is Olufaluye, properly known as Humble Prince, and I don't think I can match your resume, so I'm just gonna keep it as that. I'm a host, and it's a pleasure to be here. Proud Nigerian, just like most of you in the room, proud Africans, and let's get ready to have an amazing event. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'd like to introduce today's event sponsors, starting with the Africa Business Club. The Africa Business Club has 2 presidents, GT Swaneker and Ivoire Whitaker. GT couldn't be here, but I am going to introduce him. He's currently earning his MBA at Columbia Business School, serving as the co-president of the Africa Business Club and a Chazen Leadership Fellow. After graduation, he hopes to pursue a career in technology strategy and product management, solving complex problems in tech, fintech, and crypto, particularly in Africa, excite him. Before Columbia, GT held positions in engineering management and strategy at Goldman Sachs and FX cash settlements at Morgan Stanley. He also serves on the board of the Washington Center, a DC-based organization that provides dynamic experiential learning opportunities to empower and motivate young people to become engaged global citizens, and Dream Oval, the Accra-based fintech. He is the creator of Before the Come Up, a podcast where he interviews his business school peers to learn about their stories and backgrounds and ultimately better connect the Columbia community. GT brings a global perspective to his work, having lived in Ghana, the UK, and the US. Traveling and experiencing different cultures has shaped him and remains an important passion. As we said, he can't be here today, but please let's give him a round of applause.
Next up, we have Ivoire Whitaker, who is a first-generation Ghanaian American, earning her MBA at Columbia Business School and serving as the co-president of the Africa Business Club. She is also a Columbia Fellow, a Togo Fellow, an MLT Fellow, and Forte Fellow. After graduation, she hopes to pursue a career in marketing within sports, technology, and/or entertainment, while also pursuing her passion for venture capital in Ghana. Earlier this year, Ivoire started a fund called the West African Innovation Fund based out of Ghana. Over the summer, Ivoire interned at Nike as a marketing intern on the global brand, defining a purpose and athlete team, working on brand plans for Naomi Osaka, LeBron James, Serena Williams, Kylian Mbappe, and more. Before Columbia, Ivoire worked at Deloitte Consulting as a human capital strategy consultant. She also interned at a beauty skincare startup called Noor as the marketing and branding lead, and interned at 1863 Ventures as the venture capital associate intern. During this time, she also worked as the host and creative director in collaboration with Achimota School in Accra, Ghana, on a virtual mentorship series featuring the former creative director of Louis Vuitton, the late Virgil Abloh, mentoring Ghanaian Generation Z students as well. Ivoire was also featured in The Voyage Dallas in November 2020, and Shout Out Dallas Fort Worth in May 2021 for her work. Ivoire is also a fitness enthusiast and likes to work and travel with fashion design ideas in her spare time. Ladies and gentlemen, if we can please give a huge round of applause, and let's give a warm welcome to the co-president of Ivoire Whitaker. Let's please, Ivoire, are you here? Can you come up?
Come to the stage.
Come up. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Ivoire's going to be hooking us up with some Michael Jordans, yes? No?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ivoire Whitaker. I'm a second-year student at Columbia Business School, and I'm also the co-president of the Africa Business Club, also known as ABC, along with my co-president, GT Swaneker. I speak for our entire board and membership community when I say we're so excited to welcome you all here today to engage in an exciting conversation with Mr. Peter Obi on Afro economics and government policy. I would first like to emphasize that this event is not an endorsement by Columbia Business School, Columbia University, or its affiliates. Rather, this is an exciting opportunity for a fruitful dialogue for our students to listen, learn, and engage as we discuss issues within and challenges that transcend the largest African representation in America, Nigeria, for our fellow Nigerians, for our Nigerians, Nigerian Americans, and the entire Nigerian community. Since its inception, ABC's mission has been to advance social and economic issues related to Africa and promote an understanding of Africa at Columbia Business School. ABC not only shares cultural and international perspectives from Africa on campus, but also builds community through education and various forms of engagement and entertainment. Our goal is to uplift the voices of Africa and the African diaspora on campus in unique ways by amplifying trends and opportunities within Africa and African culture to create a strong bond among our members and allies. There are millions of African immigrants in the United States, my parents being one of them. The time is now for us to discuss challenges and issues back home, get involved in the political process, and try to influence policymaking, thereby helping to connect the nexus between those of us who live here in the United States and those in Africa in a way that can positively affect lives of the people of the continent. This academic year, in alignment with our conference theme, we're meeting the moment. We're excited to kick off the year. Today, we bring to you ABC's first event of the year, where we'll discuss how government policy and economics in Nigeria and how we, as Africans, are meeting the moment now in 2022. We hope you all enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tivoire.
Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce Taryn Wilkins. Taryn Wilkins, originally from Jackson, New Jersey, is a 2021 graduate of Howard University. At Howard University, she majored in political science and minored in African American studies. She is a proud member of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Taryn currently serves as the president of the Columbia Black Law Students Association and the staff editor for the Columbia Journal of Race and Law. Taryn is also a judicial extern for Judge Thomas Durkin of the Northern District of Illinois. Taryn is interested in the emerging companies and venture capital legal space and is excited to continue learning about the work next summer at Cooley LLP. In her free time, Taryn loves to do yoga, try new restaurants, and reads notification. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if we can. No, I'm sorry. What did I say? Notification? I just wanted to make sure you guys are paying attention. I meant to say nonfiction. Okay, you guys are paying attention. Good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if we can, please let's give a huge round of applause and a warm welcome to Taryn. Thank you.
Thank you, and good afternoon. On behalf of the Black Law Students Association at Columbia, welcome. As stated, my name is Taryn Wilkins, and I currently serve as the president of the Black Law Students Association, also known as BALSA. I am a 2L at the law school. Thank you for coming out for today's discussion on Afro economics and government policy. I would like to echo that this event is not an endorsement by the Black Law Students Association, Columbia Law School, or Columbia University at large. We would like to take this time to thank Governor Peter Obi, of course, Jordan McMeans, our Social Consciousness Chair for the Black Law Students Association, and Justin Owenyu for moderating on BALSA's behalf. I also want to thank Nexus C and Columbia's Africa Business Club for their work in making this event come to fruition. Columbia's Black Law Students Association is one of the main reasons I chose Columbia. I wanted the same feeling of community I got at my HBCU, where I was able to connect with people from all over the diaspora who looked like me and who all they wanted to do was see everyone around them succeed. The Columbia Black Law Students Association is one of the most active student organizations on campus, facilitating relationships among its members with other students and faculty at the law school and with practicing attorneys. From community service opportunities, professional development events, to our annual retreat that is coming up in a few weeks, we do our best to make sure our community is as strong and as connected as possible. What makes our community even better, though, is when we get to open it up and interact with other people who are also trying to make a change in the world. So again, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the event.
Thank you, Taryn. We'd now like to welcome to the stage the Naija We Can founder, Nexus Uzomasi. I'm going to tell you a bit about this man. Nexus is a litigation and trial partner at a top-ranked national law firm in New York. He's represented various Fortune 500 companies, financial institutions, and pharmaceutical firms in a variety of disputes in state and federal courts. Don't mess with him, in other words. Nexus focuses his practice on complex commercial litigation, product liability, and investigations, and his deep experience has allowed him to look to the future, pioneering work on the impact of artificial intelligence on current legal regimes, including product liability law. Nexus is well known in the professional community. No stranger to community building, he served as the president of the Nigerian Lawyers Association from 2014 to 2016, where he worked to build strong, diverse communities in the US and abroad. He's also a founding member of 1844, an association of African American male attorneys that focuses on promoting collaboration, business development, and mentorship among attorneys of color in big law. As a member of the Metropolitan Black Bar Association and the Garden State Bar, Nexus mentors numerous college and law students interested in legal careers in private practice. He's also the founder of Ubora, an African social network, which is currently available on the App Store and Google Play Store. Ubora seeks to bridge the gap between the African diaspora and those on the continent and help young Africans write their own narratives and build mutually beneficial networks online. So if we can all provide Nexus with a warm welcome to the stage.
He also used to be a linebacker for the New York Giants, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Lola and Humble Prince. So we're going to play a little bit of a game. I'm going to say Naija, and I want everyone to say, we can. Naija? We can. Naija? We can. Naija? We can. All right, that's the type of energy we're seeking to tap into. Thank you, Lola, again, and Humble Prince for doing a wonderful job emceeing the event. And thank you to the Columbia Africa Business Club and BALSA members and leadership. If we can just give the leadership of BALSA and the African Business Club a round of applause, please. To our audience, many of whom have come far and wide, you left what you're doing on a Sunday to be here to listen to a conversation with Peter Obi. I thank you so much for being here. If you can give yourselves a round of applause, please. To all of our volunteers and the Naija We Can board and everyone who participated in this event and making this event a success, if you could just please stand and be recognized. There's so many folks who volunteered, who helped out, had sleepless nights trying to put this event together. Please stand and be recognized. Students, stand and be recognized. It is not easy to put events like this together. It takes a whole team. And thank you so much for your contributions. It is truly an honor to partner with Columbia students to do this event, in part because they are the future. They are the future, they are our future. And we hope that the future is incredibly bright because it's going to be in their hands. The discussion today is indeed about our future and not about the past, and about raising the level of discourse and raising the conversation on issues that would hopefully ultimately benefit each and every one of us. Naija We Can was born out of what I like to describe as Nigerian American exceptionalism and the desire to export that can-do spirit to the homeland. Indeed, there's something truly special that runs through all of our veins. As members of the African American, and Nigerian community, standing on the shoulders of many who have come before us, we all know what it means to work hard, exhibit exceptional grit and tenacity, and do our very best to be at the top of our game in all of our respective industries. There is a reason why the Nigerian immigrant diaspora is one of the most successful immigrant diasporas in the United States. You can clap, that's fine. We are truly an exceptional people. And as a child of Nigerian immigrants who told me time and time again that all things are possible, I truly believe that there is nothing we cannot do. If you were raised in a Nigerian household, please raise your hand. Let's give them a round of applause. If you were raised in a Nigerian household, you probably knew you had three options. You could be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, maybe a pharmacist, accountant. Not what these guys are doing, no MCs. But our parents held us accountable, and our community held us accountable. And that's why we are all here today, successful at what we do. What Naija We Can seeks to do is create a platform for the Nigerian diaspora to engage a lot more formally on what's happening on the homeland, to hold our leaders accountable by providing thought leadership and policy initiatives, and also to impact financing and get involved more directly in campaigns. Naija We Can is a nonprofit organization. It's a political PAC that was formed in DC. And today is not for campaigning, as the students have said, disclaimers, right? Rightfully so. Today is also not for fundraising. But Naija We Can and the Naija We Can team will be reaching out to all of you a little bit more about how you can participate and take part in what's going on back home. Naija We Can played a major role partnering with the students to put this event together. And I thank again the Naija We Can team for all that you have done for putting this event together. I hope you enjoy the show. Take care. The conversation.
Okay, so now the moment we've all been waiting for. We'd like to turn to the fire. Thank you for your patience. Some of you have been here for a while, actually. I'm quite impressed. We'd like to turn to the Fireside Chat portion of our evening, and we'll start by introducing our wonderful moderators.
Okay. All right. Neoma Nwankwo is a second-year MBA student at Columbia University with a focus on finance and accounting. She was raised in Lagos and is from Abia State, Nigeria. Neoma graduated summa cum laude from Virginia Tech in 2016. Please let's give her a round of applause for that. That's...
All right. She's doing it right. She's doing exactly what the parents want.
Exactly. She reminds me of myself, but I digress. And she was recognized as the Undergraduate Student of the Year, the university's most prestigious student award. Let's give her another round of applause. Please. At Columbia, she's a Forte Fellow, a Columbia Fellow, and was 2021's PIMCO Scholar. Prior to business school, she worked in Citigroup's cash and equity compensation divisions in London and New York. This summer, Neoma interned as an investment banking associate within the Media and Telecommunications Group at Citigroup, where she will be returning full-time next year. She is passionate about giraffe conservation. I said
Conservation.
That. Conservation. I'm just making sure you guys are paying attention.
I mean, conversation too. Maybe.
Yes. Gender inclusive finance and the future of African capital remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's give a huge round of applause for Neoma Nwankwo. Come on, man. You guys could do better than that. Let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
And our other wonderful moderator is Justin Nwenu. Justin is a second-year law student at Columbia Law School. He currently serves as the president of the Columbia Law School Democrats, treasurer of Columbia's Student Senate, and as a TA for University President Bollinger's course on free speech. Outside of law school, Justin serves as a senior advisor for an anti-corruption ballot initiative in Michigan. He holds a BA from Rice University, where he served as a student body president and helped lead local recovery efforts in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. Before law school, let's big it up him. Yes. Impressive bunch, I have to say. Before law school, Justin served as a White House intern, appointee for Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and community organizer in Detroit, where he built broad coalitions to secure over $500,000 to protect school children from poor air quality. He wrote and passed the Detroit River Protection Ordinance and connected vulnerable residents to resources in the face of COVID-19. We can give a clap for that too. Justin's father immigrated from Nigeria to Detroit when he was in his early 20s and has since sponsored dozens of others to make the move. So if we can all give Justin a very warm welcome to the stage. So now it is our distinct privilege to introduce you to the man of the hour with the introduction. We're going to tag team on the introduction, basically. So.
That's right. Excuse me. That's right. And I'll ask everyone to be patient and obedient as we try to get through this. Come on, y'all. That was funny. That's it. No pun intended. It's our first time at this. I don't know about everyone in the room, but obedience comes very easy for me. Can you laugh now? Nexus wrote that joke. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Peter Gregory Obi, born on 19th of July, 1961, is a Nigerian businessman and politician. He served as governor of Anambra State from 17th of March to November 2006, February to May 2007, and from June 2007 to 17th of March 2014. On the 30th of May 2022, he became the Labour Party nominee for President of Nigeria in the 2023 presidential election. Born in the commercial city of Onitsha in 1961, Mr. Obi attended a legacy Catholic school, Christ the King College, Onitsha. He studied philosophy at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and graduated in 1984. After a one-year compulsory National Youth Corps service, he entered business and banking, eventually rising to hold several high-ranking executive and board positions in several banks. By the early 2000s, Mr. Obi was the chairman of Fidelity Bank PLC before leaving the position to enter politics. He ran for governor of Anambra State in 2003 as a member of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, but his main opponent was unlawfully declared the victor. After 3 years of legal battles, he was declared the winner in 2006 and assumed office in March 2006. He was impeached in November 2006, but the impeachment was eventually overturned by a court and he returned to office in February 2007. Obi was again removed from office when a new election was held in April 2007, but the judiciary intervened again and a court ruled that he was entitled to complete a full 4-year term. In 2010, he won re-election to a second term, and his second tenure expired on the 17th of March 2014. Mr. Obi's 2 terms were marked by improvements in Anambra State finances, education and healthcare, and proactive collaboration with the organised private sector. His educational and governance models, the Anambra State's integrated development strategy, was a domesticated variant of the Millennial Development Goals.
After leaving office in 2014, Mr. Obi gained new status as an advocate for good governance and respected national political figure. In 2014, on invitation, he joined the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP. In 2019, he was selected as the vice presidential nominee in the presidential elections as the running mate to Atiku Abubakar, but lost to the incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari and mate to Atiku Abubakar. All right.
Testing.
All right, calm down. Calm down. Naija, be calming down, be calming down, be calming down. If I didn't look to my right, I thought that standing ovation was for me. All right. Mr. Obi has attended many executive and leadership courses in major global institutions, namely Lagos Business School, Nigeria, Harvard Business School, Boston, USA, London School of Economics, London, England, Columbian Business School, New York, USA, Institute of Management Development, Geneva, Switzerland, Keller Graduate School of Management, USA, Oxford University, SED Business School, London, England, Cambridge University, London, England, and the emcees in France. Please, let's give him a round of applause for that. Let's warm him up, yeah. We're not ready, not yet. Mr. Obi previously held several notable positions, including Honorary Special Advisor to the Nigerian President of France till May 2015, Member Presidential Economic Management Team till May 2015, Vice Chairman, Nigeria Governors Forum Chairman, Southeast Governors Forum, Chairman, Board of Securities and Exchange Commission. Okay, you guys can start coming up. Chairman, Garden Express Mortgage Limited. Chairman, Charms Nigeria PLC Director, Margin Capital Limited Director. Ladies and gentlemen, whoa. Married with 2 children, Mr. Obi has received numerous national and international awards. He holds the high national honor, Commander of Niger Con. Ladies and gentlemen, please, now you can do it. Let's make some noise, a huge round of applause for the man himself, Mr. Peter Obi.
Hey. Big man.
All right, let's go and sit down. Yeah.
I know what. Let them stand. Let them sit down. Let people sit down.
Let's go. You get one more.
I'll
That's it.
spend more time.
Thank you.
Are you going?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Please, can we have everyone seated? That's cool. But please, we need quiet. We need and decorum in the room, please. We want everybody to be seated, please.
Are you the one asking? 2 of you are the ones asking the questions.
Everyone, if you could please sit down. This is the moment we've all been waiting for, so let's make it happen. I'd like to welcome Mr. Obi to the podium for some remarks. Mr. Obi, would you like to come?
Okay. Please be seated, please. Let me very respectfully stand on all existing protocols and most sincerely thank the organizers of this event, the wonderful people, some of whom I'm going to face when they interrogate me today. So I thank the various presidents of various schools that are involved. I've told them that I'm applying for their job, and I hope I get it. Mine, I think I'll spend more time while thanking you for the sacrifice of being here this afternoon and being part of this process. I think I'm going to spend more time in the interaction so that after the interaction I can make, because that's what makes more meaning. Otherwise, what I'm going to tell you is probably telling you the same sad news you've heard about our country, Nigeria. So let me plead that I sit down with these presidents on the firewall, and maybe when they finish, I'll do my own little speech. I hope I agreed. Yes. So we'll do the interaction, the question and answer. That will bring out a few comments we want to honors as much as possible, cover a lot. I had been here waiting for the presidency for a while now because they told me you have to start by 12 and you have to obey. So I was here on the dot. So let me just sit down, but I thank you and I assure you that this afternoon will be worthwhile. I will make my comments at the end of the interaction. Thank you and God bless you. So,
thank you so much, first of all, for being with us and for doing this. I want to start us off and ask you about your personal background. It'd be great if you could share a little bit about your background, your family, your childhood. What values did your family instill in you? Were there defining points in your childhood that helped guide your interest in community and business and politics? If you could start us there.
Well, as you know, my name is Mr. Peter Obi. I don't have any other title except now. When they were reading my bio, they've told you about my background when I was born, July 19, 1961. I was born in Onitsha. This is my quote, primary. Had my primary school in Onitsha, St. Maria Onitsha, and then went to Christ the King College Onitsha, thereafter University of Nigeria and Soka. I was born in a very strong, call it Christian, but Catholic background, where I don't know how, I've always tell people that whatever I'm today is due to the prayers of my mother and everything, because I was brought up in the background where you have to pray maybe 3 times in a day. You know, and, not actually just pray, go to church probably 3 times in a day. My immediate senior sister is the Reverend Sister. My immediate younger brother is the Reverend Father. So I'm tied between these two people, and it's not an easy thing, you know. So I came from that very strong Catholic background where you have to just do everything right, because you also have people in between to answer to, not just, I don't need to go far before sister says, why did you do this? And then father on this side says, why did you do this? So the only way to work is to ensure that I do the right thing, because, and that was the background. And I lived in Nigeria when, of course, the name of your family is far more important, it's very important to you. They will ask whose child is this, where you coming from, and everything. And this has guided me over life, and to say that I have to do the right things. I have to live the right life and everything. And of course, I'm a trader. That's what I do. I lived in Onitsha. If you live in Onitsha, I grew up in a trading family. My parents were business people. My mother was a trader, my father was a trader, and I took to trading and I became a businessman. And that's what I do till today. My involvement in politics was rather it's a long story that I don't know how to tell. I got involved in it out of how can we be here? And this is happening in my state. Schools were shut down for 2 years. People did not go to school. And I was doing a program in Kellogg, which, like I said, for want of time, I'm not going to do it. And I encountered the then dean of Kellogg Graduate School, Professor Donald Jacob, who convinced me that I should not be involved, I should get involved in building public wealth instead of building individual wealth. It's a long story, but he just said to me, if you continue to build public wealth, private wealth, everybody is poor. If you get involved in building public wealth, everybody is rich, and that's where you belong, you know. And I went back, and I said to myself, listen, let me go and contest the election to be governor of my state. The rest is not easy. It's something nobody can imagine, but that's how I got involved in politics.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. That was amazing. I think whether they're studying business or law, many of the students in attendance are considering a career in politics. And you've made a very interesting transition from business into politics. What's some advice you have for students on making that transition? And what is something you wish you knew when you look back now about making that transition?
Well, my first advice is that that transition depends on which country you are transiting. Because some of you are going to be involved in politics here, so it's a different thing. If you are doing it in Africa, it's a different thing. Because you can transit into a trouble you can't come out of it. So, for me, if you can, start what you can call a meaningful career. Have a good daytime job. Have a second address you can go back to. Because politics in Africa is a little bit of an organized crime that you can get involved, and you find out that if you're not strong, you get messed up and ruined. So you must be ready to be able to have people like Professor Tommy who have been involved in it on and off. The reason why he gets better out of it is that he has a career, is a respected professor of political economy, so you can go back to teach. But if you don't have a career and you walk into it and you get yourself messed up, you can't, and you might even be a victim, yet and yet become the criminal because they are smart. So it's important that get a career, have a second address, have a place you can go back to, and considering that it's not in Africa, it's not in Nigeria in particular, it's not a pensionable job. Forget that people are creating pensions for themselves. It's not something you can say this is a career and you can live for your life. It is difficult here. So that's my advice to those who want to get involved.
Thank you. So it took nearly, as you heard in the bio, it took nearly 3 years of intense legal battle to fully recognize your election as governor. I imagine the time between 2003 and 2006 when you took office took a tremendous amount of patience. Can you describe to the audience what that time was like? What were the conversations like with your attorneys? What were some of the behind-the-scenes challenges with your legal battle?
Well, for me, like I said, I had a very strong, in terms of a business that is thriving, I'm doing something that one can say I was earning a living from. So what I was challenging, as at that time, was the rascality. I wanted to see the end of such rascality, that somebody can win an election. Because I received the majority of lawful votes cast in the election. And suddenly, somebody else was declared the winner. And I'm just in the position I am today. I started this project in the year 2002. And I came to this America, 2002, contesting for governor. The election was 2003. And I've just left PDP into a new party, just like I did now. And I contested the election, and they declared somebody else. And they said that is the end of it, that nobody have ever gotten into the court. So I went to court. So for me, what was important for me then is to challenge the wrong process. Because I believe that the process through which people arrive at any destination, especially in life, is far more fundamental than what they do while they're in office. If the process is wrong, whatever you do for me is wrong. So the process is important. So I was challenging the rascality of the process. And I would have stayed in that court for 10 years. I told the lawyers at the time, those two were worried. After 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I said, listen, we'll stay here. I want to see the end of this. Because after me, nobody will do it again. And it became the first time people said, okay, this will happen again.
Thank you for that. We want to transition to questions about the economy. The first question is, in your view, what is the most effective path forward for reducing poverty in Nigeria and mitigating ongoing regional inequities? A lot has been made of the role of oil and gas industry in driving the Nigerian economy. Can you speak a little bit to the efforts to diversify into tech and other non-oil sectors?
Well, quite frankly, the issue of reducing poverty is to pursue clear lines of measurable means of development. The greatest measure of development today is Human Development Index. And this is premised on 3 critical areas. One is the issue of life expectancy, which is health. Health, they say, is wealth. So you need to invest in it in order to keep your people healthy. Second is education. It improves that the human capital development is the most critical asset to development. The more money you put into human capital development, the more you put in education, the better your development. So you need to invest in that. The third is per capita. So the more you put money into people, put people out of poverty, the more you reduce poverty. To deal with the third one, which is always says critical, is that, and that comes to what you're saying, is to focus on investment in your micro, small, medium enterprises. It's a critical way. If you look at all over the world today, including America, the greatest employer of labor is this sector. But more importantly, in developing world, they're the greatest engine of development. If you use a country like Indonesia, today, over 80% of the job in Indonesia is created by this sector. If you go to a country like China, because I want to use the third world countries, I don't want to use the first world countries because I know where Nigeria belongs. So, if you look at the third world countries, if you look at China, which everybody is using as an example today, 60% of Chinese GDP contribution is this sector. 60% of the jobs is this sector. It's assumed today that about 800 million Chinese people are working. So 540 million is this sector. Again, in terms of your exports, they are producing over 65% of the export and everything. So if you are talking about pulling people out of poverty, this is one critical area you need to invest and support. And these are where you have the tech companies, the small companies, because the young ones, people who are changing the world today are the young ones. And in Nigeria in particular, they have a mass and huge population in this age bracket. I don't think this is one of the things that I always say that if you want to turn around Nigeria today, if you move it from consumption to production and invest on the young ones, they will change the world. They have the capacity, they have the capability. And that is where I think we'll focus on if you want to pull people out of poverty.
Yeah.
And the problem we have faced, if you reverse it, is because we have not invested in this critical sector. Because today you have about 33% unemployment. If you add the underemployment, it should be about 50%. And if you use the average that's between 50 to 60% of your population is supposed to be working, you can imagine the number that is not working. And out of this number that is not productive are mainly the youths with their energy and talent. So they're diverting to something wrong, and that's why you have a problem.
You made an incredible point. You've made an incredible point around the need to diversify our economy as well as the Nigerian startups and the SMEs that the economy essentially would ride on. Nigerian startups raised the highest investor funding in Africa in 2021, about $1 billion. But according to our own Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we are one of the most hostile business environments in the world. And we're curious about what that means as far as regulatory changes. In the current setup, our businesses are surviving despite the environment instead of thriving because of it. So what meaningful regulatory changes do you think would be relevant to making a change in this environment?
There's quite a lot. One is for the government to understand the need to have a conducive regulatory environment. And the need, because we can't talk about today, I was involved in a similar thing this morning where somebody said, what are your priorities if we're elected tomorrow? And I said, it's very simple. First is security. The investor has to be alive. The investor has to be alive to enjoy his profits. You have to secure the place. After securing the place, you talk about law and order. These are two most critical, intangible assets you need. And you need to pursue them aggressively to show that you're committed to it. So, for me, these are intangible assets that the government have to pay 24 hours attention to ensure that it's provided, supported, feasible, in order for you to start having your own local people having confidence to invest and then attracting the outsiders.
Thank you for that. We want to ask you about inflation. By July 2022, inflation in Nigeria has risen almost 19%, its highest levels over the past 5 years, creating a lot of downward pressure on the economy. Can you speak to what specific policies you believe will be effective and helpful in curbing inflation?
Well, since after the COVID, Nigeria is not peculiar when it comes to the issue of inflation. It's been a very big problem globally, and especially in third world countries, the countries that are not producing enough, and it's worsened by even the wars and everything. So what are policies you're going to do? There's quite a lot of a combination of what I can call ensuring that you drive, especially the food inflation, driving more productivity in that area to be able to reduce the food inflation. And as you're doing that, it's going to affect the other areas. You have to put a lot of, for me, productivity. I would deal with inflation the way I would deal with issue of rate of the naira and everything.
Thank you.
We've touched on this a little bit already, but I think people will be curious to hear some specificity around the topic of inflation. So you did mention 33% inflation in Nigeria, which translates to roughly 23.2 million people. And in any country, this is, of course, is a cause for alarm, but in our country with such high rates of banditry and terrorism, there is truly fire on the mountain with 23 million unemployed people. So what can be done to specifically raise those employment rates, especially to attract youth to currently unattractive areas?
You know, I've said I've said we need to move the country from consumption to production. Countries that are measured by the productive capacity of our citizens, especially youth, not about the natural resources and everything. Today, the Nigerian nation is not productive. That's it. You need to make it productive. And that is what is affecting your unemployment, affecting the rate of your exchange and everything. And I'll give you an example because people have asked me, and I know it's not part of the question you asked me, but I need to bring it in. People asked me, what are you going to do to stabilize Naira? I said, if you produce more and export more, you earn the foreign exchange you need and you stabilize your currency. What stabilizes currency is export and everything. And I give an example of what is happening. The same thing goes with the issue of production. Today, I'll give you a sample which is one of the states in Nigeria. A state like Niger State, some of you might not know Nigeria very well, but those who know it very well will know what I'm talking about. Niger State. Niger State is the largest state in terms of land mass, fertile land. Niger State is 76.3 thousand square kilometers of land, fertile land. But all the allocation, all their resources comes from the money that is being shared from the oil that is in Niger Delta. So that land contributes nothing to their revenue because of the consumptive life of Nigeria. They share it instead of producing anything. A country like Netherlands, if you minus water, is about 33,000 square kilometers. That means Niger State is almost 2.5 times Netherlands. Netherlands' total agricultural export last year was $120 billion. Niger State total revenue from the share of oil money is about 40 billion naira. Their budget is about 100 and something billion naira. They can't feed themselves, they can't feed Nigeria, and they don't export. But if they were able to feed themselves and they exported 1% of what Netherlands did with about 30 to 40% of their land, just 1%, it will be $1.2 billion, of which if you use the rate of exchange that is in the parallel market, is about 750 billion naira, which is 5 times their budget. But they're not doing that. So it's not productive. So you see the people looking for food, but they have food on the ground, which they're not taking. So that's what I'm talking about. So creating job, in order to make the people employ, in order to create job and employ the people, there's opportunities, vast opportunities that needs to be put into production, and the people will be employed to do that, everything. So we're going to do there's a lot of things you can do. We don't have power today. We generate, transmit, and distribute about 4,000 megawatts of electricity for a country of 200 million people. That is a total mess. You can't do that. Another just example of another country, South Africa, the second biggest economy in Africa, 60 million people. They are generating about 50,000 megawatts and generating 4 megawatts. And in the past 3 weeks, they declared even emergency in power and authorized that anybody can generate up to 100 megawatts without license. So you could see somebody with 50,000 declared emergency, somebody with 4,000 is keeping quiet. So when I'm there, I'm going to declare triple emergency. And the more you generate power, for every 1,000 megawatts of electricity you generate, it improves that you can add 1% to your GDP. And of course, if you're able to today do, which is my target, is to move from about 4,000 to about 12, 15,000. If you can do that, you can move your manufacturing, which over about 7% today in GDP contribution, to about 11. That alone will create a lot of jobs. So there's critical areas you need to invest if you must reduce unemployment. And these are known areas and everything that we have to do.
Thank you for that. I'd like to ask the audience for a quick second, how many of you all within the past year have sent money back home to family in Nigeria? Raise your hand. Last hour, last week, thank you.
Okay.
As you know, with $20 billion annually in remittances from members of the diaspora back to family in Nigeria, Nigeria ranks 6th in the world. In your view, are there economic risks to having such a large portion of GDP tied to remittances?
Well, this question comes up as I've been touring everywhere. That's why I said, let me not make a speech and do this one, but I didn't know it was going to. It's, for me, I'm even looking how to invest to double this. Everywhere I've been, the question is that, what do I do to reverse Nigerian brain drain? And I think it's a sort of worry. I say, no, it's good for the country. And people say, why? I said, the brain drain will be the brain gain. If you go and study the turnaround of most countries in Asia, it is those who left at a critical time that when you now have a good government that is doing the right thing, that came back and became the first investors. So for me, all these people here are investors I'm targeting. So I know these are the investors I'm targeting. So wherever I've been from California to Houston to Charlotte to Atlanta, everywhere I go, I said to myself, I'm going to fix that place and bring these people back. They don't need to save money. You know? Right now, what they are doing is social welfare. That's what I want to stop. I want them to be investors. That money they are sending back, Nigeria does not receive up to 25% of the amount you mentioned as foreign investment. So I want this money to come back as an investment, not that they are doing social welfare for people to eat and do burial. I want them to come back as investment. You know? Then we'll bring back. I lived in the UK, and I had my neighbor in the UK. My neighbor in the UK is from India. He built a factory in India. The factory we're employing about 500 persons. He lives in the UK. He was importing what the factory was producing into the UK. So he was making money and lived well. And his people were employed in the UK. But this money you mentioned now is not productive. So I want to turn it into production. It will be productive. And that is what you do when you provide power and everything. We will educate, we'll also invest in education and have more people that will remit more.
Thank you for that. So we've talked a lot about foreign investment. You mentioned your strategy for increasing that investment for members of the Nigerian diaspora. In the U.S., there's been a lot of critique of China's investment and approach on the continent. What do you make of China's increased involvement and investment on the continent, just broadly? Do you have any criticisms or critique that you'd like
Well,
to?
I'm not criticizing anybody for coming to invest. I'm criticizing the method and style of investment. The people I want to see to come and invest are Africans first to come and invest, because what it is that the investment we're getting from Asia, China, everywhere is more of not what it should be. I might not make a lot of comment on that, but I assure you, I want to replace it with investment coming from Africans.
Thank you.
I think it's important for us now to transition a little bit into what you discussed as the number one priority for you, which is security. To your earlier point, the investor cannot come if he is not alive. And I think that that is very critical. But my question is actually security of Nigerians at home. And this is broadly around the 2020 EndSARS movement, which reflected Nigerians' fear of their own police force and their lack of safety in their own land. And many would say that the key issue of police brutality in Nigeria is far from resolved. So how would you address the concerns that brought about EndSARS to ensure a more accountable Nigerian police force?
Well, I made comment during EndSARS, and that is the comment I'm going to make. The police brutality is that I can say is the reflection of the brutality of the politicians. If the leader The police is watching the behavior and the character of the leader. If the leader, I've worked with police, I was governor for 8 years. No police that ever worked with me pushed to anybody. Go and ask in my state. No police. No police. No police. No police or security followed me into a church. So they look at the behavior and the character of the leader, and they behave the same way. So if the leader is law-abiding and behaves well, we live in a system where bad behavior and rascality became a measure of being successful or powerful. So police joined the same rascality and bad behavior. So if I come here and be pushing people from people falling down, then they know that one big man is passing. Otherwise, if everybody's standing up, then there's something wrong. So it is a measure, you need to deal with it. It's the character of the society. And you can start changing it, start educating them, start employing people, teaching them good behavior, character, how to talk, and make police and agencies of the law to see themselves as members of the society who are supposed to contribute in building a better society rather than terrorizing the society.
Thank you. So Nigeria has several security challenges for over a decade, specifically from Boko Haram and other terrorist groups, both within and near the country. You would agree that it's impossible for the country to function without security, as you mentioned. How would you develop and strengthen security forces to defend Nigeria from terrorist attacks and widespread banditry?
Well, I might not say everything because it's a security issue, but let me assure you, and I said everywhere, we will deal with security issue very, very decisively. It won't be the same thing. You see, there's so many things steps you can take. I had governed the state and I had a security problem when I came to the state. And you can go and ask what happened there. It was war. Two people cannot run a state at the same time. It's either there's a state or there's a non-state actor. One person will be on the stage. But if there's a state, the state has to use all its resources to secure its people. That's their number one job. The number one job of the society, the state, the country, is to secure its citizens. And you have to use every resource. You have to do that.
I think we're going to transition quickly into education and government policy. And I'm excited to ask this question because I know education was one of your areas of success as governor of Anambra State. But Nigeria as a country is currently underinvesting in education. As of August 2022, federal universities have been closed and on strike for 6+ months. And our government spending as a total budget, as a total percentage of our budget is 5%, which is extremely low compared to global averages of 14%. So what needs to be done on a national level to make us globally competitive as far as education is concerned?
Well, it's for you to understand first what is education about. Education is not, when you do expenditure on education, it is not, you can't see it as an expenditure, it's an investment. When you put money into education, you are investing in tomorrow. Because like I said earlier, the more you invest in education, the better your economy. Because it will drive your development measure up. It will help to increase your per capita So unless you see education as an investment, you wouldn't appreciate why you should invest more in it. It is not even, I'm not worried as much as the low investment, as I'm worried that even that low one is not properly channeled into the education. I've been governor, and one of the issues we dealt aggressively was the issue of education. That again is for you to verify. We moved education from number 26, 27 to number 1. And we didn't change. It was not just increasing yes, we increased the investment, but what was more important than we increased the supervision. We made sure that the monies we budgeted was properly invested. I was just speaking to some people before I came down here. I told them, I said, we had what we call UBEC at the center. UBEC gives us money as a state. That money goes to local government, who then gives it to school. So I said to them, so this, you are federal government, you are state government, I'm local government, she's the school. So this money goes from him to you, to me, and her. And I said, why can't this money go from here to here and leave these two people? Because what happens, the more this money transits, the lesser it becomes. So I removed that transit point. All those toll gates were removed. No. Let this money go direct to her. And me and you started complaining, oh no, now we are supposed to supervise that. I said, that the money must pass through us so we know whether he spends it right or wrong. I said, no, we can still do it. Our job is supervision. Just give her the money and we'll supervise her. And that made all the difference. Because the money became more effective. Because we're not getting anything from it, our supervision became more thorough. Because we're no longer part of it. So we don't want this person to equally chop anything, so we must. So it's a simple thing. It's that little one, we want it to be invested properly. And then we can grow it. Is Nigeria investing enough in education? No. Our last 5-6 years, investment in education, past 6 years, I think should be from 2015 to 2021, which is 6 years. Our investment in education is about 4.7 trillion. Just about that. Which, if you translate it to, it is not up to South African investment in education for 1 year. South Africa is 60 million, we're 200 million. So it's a crisis situation. However, these are issues we need to deal with because we don't have enough revenue as a country because you have mass poverty. Because people who are poor can't pay tax. People who are productive can't pay you. So you need to inject and create production and employment to be able to get revenue. So it's a win-win.
With a host of languages, religions, hundreds of ethnic groups. How do you envision and what is your plan to unify the country to make sure that Nigeria remains one?
Well, ethnic group is all over the world. There's no place that has been one ethnic group or where there's no diverse people, even in America. It's all over the world. It is job of the leader to bring everybody to the table. It is job of leader to dialogue, to consult, to do this. A leader does not say, oh, because this person is agitating or this person wants to go away, let things go away. No. Agitation is part of life. People disagreeing is part of life. It's a question of how you manage that relationship. I have agitation in my family, not even in the States. There's a times I have two young ones, they're graduates. There's a time they disagree with me. And I say, please, 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 because I don't want them to. So we discuss it. I have agitation. I disagree with my wife. That's agitation. And we settle it. You know, so even for you who are young ones, who some of you are still going to settle down, it is not in your relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, they quarrel. Then you settle it. That's the same thing in dealing with ethnic issues. You dialogue, you discuss, you show tolerance of each other. Not that they'll say, oh, he's agitating. Whoa, we must get rid of him. Oh, he doesn't disagree. No. And then when you're doing things, be fair. Once you're fair and just, you reduce tension.
A big part of your campaign and your public discussions have been about anti-corruption. And I want to read you a quote from the Council of Foreign Relations about Nigeria. For now, the moral compact of Nigerian corruption subsists as follows. The government pretends to fight corruption. Nigerians pretend to take the government seriously. So in a country so mired in graft and corruption, in what seems at every level, including the funnel of funds you just explained to us, how do you plan to bring an ending to corruption in a different way than what every other person has said and happened to not do?
Well, issue of corruption can be dealt with decisively. As maintained consistently. If the local government chairman, the governor, the president is not corrupt, so he's not stealing. His family is not doing that. Go and check all corrupt leaders. It's either them, their family, or their relations. If you remove these three, you reduce it by 70%. Because how does corruption work? He is the president. For example, you are the minister, or you are the wife of the president. I'm the minister. So the president has his own, then the wife has his own with his relation, children, then I add my own. Every other person has their own. Because they know that when it comes back to you, you must approve it. Because everybody's own is included. But if you decide not to be involved, it will be difficult for anybody. The fear will be there. And you can also have a mechanism to check, to ensure that whoever does it doesn't go through the process of rule of law. So it's not something that you tolerate at all. And again, I said to people, I was governor for 8 years. The day I left office as governor, I was not owing pension. I was not owing gratuity. No, wait. I was not owing gratuity. I was not owing salary. I was not owing every supplier who have supplied goods to us. I was not owing any contractor. And I had in 3 banks in Nigeria, which are namely Access Bank, Diamond Bank, and Fidelity Bank. I had in each of these banks, for the Anambra state, I saved in each $50 million, 12 billion naira. It's there. And today you can go, everybody knows that I'm the only person who have saved money as a subnational. And this is in line with my own belief. If you go and read Ngozi Wala's book, Fighting Corruption is Dangerous. It was where he was fighting corruption that the mother was kidnapped. If you read it, Fighting Corruption is Dangerous, go to page 61. When she wanted to save money, every governor in Nigeria as at then was asked to comment whether we should save money or not. What we are going today, Ngozi would have solved it. She was crying and begging that we save the money that was then in our SS Crude account, and as she can increase it if we give her authority. All the governors were against it. And she said it there, Governor Peter Obi, who supported saving, was not supported by his colleagues. It's there, page 61. But I saved. So go on.
A critical.
So you can fight corruption. I'm my ex-governor today. Anambra State have never bought me this water since I left. There was no law to back in a place where all other my colleagues have been. They do this, no plot of land. Go and check.
So
if you go to Anambra State and see any plot of land belonging to Peter Obi, I've stopped contesting. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So a critical part of democracy is the conversation between government leaders and citizens. Many times in our democracy, once a president is elected, the conversation between citizens and government leaders ceases. What is your plan when you're elected, if you're elected, to make sure that you're communicating with the people? In America, we've seen former presidents have an affinity for Twitter. I'm curious what your communication style and approach will be once, if elected.
Again, I will always be taking you back to what I did before. When I became governor of Anambra State, the budget, the planning, the budget, the execution was supply-driven. So I said to the people, no, it has to be demand-driven. We have to go to the people. I was touring every local government in Anambra State at least once every 6 months. I was everywhere. I slept in all the local governments, even when they are 30 minutes away from the capital. I slept in people's houses. If I tell you one of the things that the people still remember today, we once planned a retreat, and I asked my commissioners to go and look for the best hotel in the country where we are going to go for a retreat. And everybody agreed. And they went and looked for, there was one in Uyo, the beautiful hotel there. In Uyo, there was one in Obudu. You might not know this place. Beautiful places, Abuja. They came with all the suggestions. So we agreed. On a Friday, I said we are entering vehicle, we are going to We're going to the airport so we can fly out. I drove everybody to Aguilera. I said, there's this hotel here. That's where we are going to have our retreat. Because that is the one that is in this state. You cannot be going to another place to go and do retreat when this one here. And now we were there for 3 days. And so we go, oh, yeah, this one is not good. There's too much, there's this, that. I say, listen, that is what is now here. Let's stay with it. What am I trying to say is, we will ensure that we interact with people. It's critical. And interacting with the people is very important because you need to learn. Learning, listening, and leading is inseparable. Once you stop learning, you stop listening, then you're finished. A leader does not know everything. Anybody that knows everything is an idiot. You need to learn.
I think we've had an amazing conversation here today, and I'm sure people are surprised that you are quite as humorous as you are. It's been an amazing time with you. We have one last question that I think would really encapsulate how people are feeling fundamentally for Nigerians and for young Nigerians. We often feel that we've been dealt the worst hand. There is a deep fear that the country will descend into chaos. There is a justified anger that all the protests we make fall on deaf ears. And for those of us abroad, those of us here, there's often the pressing desire to return to a safe and functional country. So what do you say to these different emotions of 200 million people should you become their leader?
Again, the anger you're seeing is anger of poverty. Period. It's happened in every country of the world that went through one. There's a time there was too much anger in Brazil. There was time it was in Colombia, in Vietnam, in everywhere. So countries have traveled to about 30 countries that went through the same problems we're facing today. The more you pull people out of poverty, the more you reduce criminality, the more you reduce anger. Simple. If you don't know where the next meal will come from, you're angry. Simple. You are a criminal. You can be anything because you don't know where the next meal will come from. America, after COVID, gave people money free to reflect the economy. If they didn't do it, the anger will increase. People will kill people. It's simple. It's a simple thing. So you need to pull people out of poverty to reduce their anger. We want to move the country to where we're pulling people out of poverty, we're showing people, and then making people to realize, give them hope. What drives a country? You need to get your people to have faith. What drives faith is hope. If the people sees that, okay, there's a chance that when we get here, it will work. It's like I'm a Christian. The only reason why I get up on a Sunday and go to church, because I'm going to go to heaven. So when the priest now says there's no heaven, hey, wait a minute. You know, anything I see, I do. That's what they're doing now. You need to give people hope. And that hope is what they can see in their leader. The way you carry things, what you do and everything, that's what makes the difference. And that's what we're not seeing in our country. You just talked about university strike for 6 months. Wait a minute. I've had ASU strike. What stops the president to call the leadership of ASU and sit down with them? Even if you don't have money to pay them, you can beg them. you're dealing with human beings. You can talk to people. You can appeal to them. I've had strike in my hand as governor. When I was governor, we had ASU strike. Our university was closed. I brought the university people. We sat down. Over a period of nearly 1 month, we were meeting virtually every day. Not via anybody, me direct. When we finished, we agreed how we can go about funding the university. Go today, Anambra State University, because of that particular decision, is one of the state or government universities that is open today. Even the Students' Union president had to say it, that they opened because of decision Peter Obi took while he was governor. You sit down and dialogue with people. Don't go and treat them as if they are nothing. No. You dialogue with bandits. Why can't you dialogue with professors?
Mr. Obi, thank you so much to our wonderful moderators and to you. We are going to take some more questions from the audience now.
Okay.
If you're ready. Yeah. Thank you so much, Justin and Emma. And so audience now, more questions.
Well, please, ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a huge round of applause. Those were... You guys can stay, yeah. Those were some very riveting questions, and I know they're going to hold Mr. Obi accountable. So please, let's show them some love. Thank you very much for those questions. Thank you.
So first question, so these questions have been picked at random, so if your question doesn't get asked, don't be offended, nothing personal. So the first question is from Bukola Shonuga, who could stand up, please. New York Foreign Press.
Bukola Shonuga, please stand up.
The question is, what are your plans to stop the hemorrhaging of the Nigerian talent by international corporations, especially in the tech sector?
Well, like I said before, there's nothing we can do now to stop them. If anybody tell you we're going to do anything now to stop them, no. Because you can't stop somebody who have a better job somewhere, a better pay somewhere, and tell him to stay where he's paid less, where he has no job, no future, no hope. However, in the tech sector, today, India is driving the tech sector. What are they doing? It is those who left India that have gone back to invest in that sector. So I can assure you, those who are living today will become our investors in that sector tomorrow.
All right, next question. Once again,
we're going to train more people anyway.
None? All right. Again, these questions were picked without bias or prejudice, and they were just picked at random. So if your question doesn't get asked, don't worry, you'll win the lottery, okay? All right. This question has no name, but the question, Mr. Obi, is, with over 10 million Nigerians in poverty, what is the plan to create national social service agency and programs? With over 10 million Nigerians in poverty.
No, it's too low now. Are you sure? No. Well, no. If it's 10 million, we don't have any problem. If it's 10 million, thank you very much.
Maybe this was somebody trying to infiltrate the campaign, right? Okay. Propaganda. All right, so with over 100 million Nigerians in poverty.
Yes, more like it.
Okay, all right. So maybe that's why the person didn't leave a name. Okay. With over 100 million Nigerians in poverty, what is the plan to create?
Let me come nearer to you.
Oh, all right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There you go, thank you. With over 100 million Nigerians in poverty, what is the plan to create national social service agency programs to help those who may not immediately benefit from your economical development plan?
We don't have such plan. It will be difficult to have such plan because you don't have the resources to have such plan. However, China, between year 2000, between year 2000 and year 2015, by strict implementation of Millennium Development Goals, was able to pull 439 million people out of poverty. India pulled 269 people out of poverty, and Vietnam did over 50 million. What they did is not rocket science. It's for us to do the same thing. They invested in the critical areas of development, and that created massive jobs within that period. So if you know what people do that got them or makes them better, do it. It is not anything. Don't create your own paradigm and think you're going to be different. We will do what other people are doing. That's what we're going to do. And we will put people as quickly as we can out of poverty.
Thank you. Next question is from Chinwude Nwana, Columbia SIPA. The question is, how do you plan to unify the nation given the increasingly polarized national environment?
Every nation is polarized. I've said it before, including America. The unifying them is for you to be a leader of all. Be tolerant, be understanding, dialogue, talk, show love, everything. You must, because you're a leader. A leader must be able to bring people together. And I can show you, if there's anywhere you can bring unity and everything, it's in Nigeria. Always make decisions based on justice, be fair to all, explain where there's difficulty, try to talk to the people. Don't just think that you can treat people anyhow and allow and expect them to keep quiet. No.
All right, the next question is from Kyra Oredu, who is a student here at Columbia University. And she asks, this past summer I interned at the Lakeshore Center, but also had the opportunity to visit Lagos University Teaching Hospital. And I noticed a huge discrepancy between the private and public institutions with regards to health resources and quality. How do you plan to address this disparity?
I answered the issue of health this morning while I was conversing. I said, when I have the opportunity, I will consult. If I tell you I know how to solve every problem here, I will be telling you a lie. Because like I said before, a leader doesn't know, I don't know everything. But I told them how I solved one health problem while I was governor. They asked me to build a teaching hospital. The University Medical Council closed down the medical school in our state university because we did not have a teaching hospital. And they said we must build a teaching hospital. I said, can I build a teaching hospital in 2 years? They said it's never been done in Nigeria before. I said, just give me an opportunity. When they say, okay, we're only going to do that because I said I'm kneeling down and begging you for the students. And they said, okay, we'll give you a chance. What did I do? I asked all the professors of medicine from Anambra State that I want to have a meeting with them. Very highly sophisticated people, some of them who went to Harvard and everything, and they agreed. And they came for the meeting. And I told them my problem. I said, I have to build a teaching hospital in 2 years. You know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. So you be the architect, the consultant, the everything. And for the sake of Anambra State, I won't pay you people a penny. You're going to do it free of charge to support the government. And they did it. You won't believe it. In 2 years, we built the Amaku teaching hospital. It's there. Go and verify it.
So the next question from Fumi is on corruption. Corruption is the biggest problem facing Nigeria. How do you plan to tackle it, not just at the federal level, but at the state and the grassroots level?
Well, I've done a lot of work on corruption, and I've said it. You need to deal with the issue of corruption. Corruption kills 3 things a society needs to thrive. Corruption kills entrepreneurship. It kills professionalism. Today we have professors in the university. The professors in university, when I was in university in Nigeria, were world class. That's why I had people like Chinua Achebe coming here to become a renowned professor in Brown University, and so many of them who left. You can't have professors doing research and everything, working hard, when they earn less money than a local government chairman. You can't do that. So these are things we need to fix. It kills hard work. So I know what to do. I promise Nigerians that if I have the opportunity, we will deal with the issue of corruption. I've done it at a level. What I want people to know is that all these things, I've done it at a particular level. And the result were clear. I'm only asking for the opportunity to do it for the country.
All right, the next one is from Odinaka Ezilbili. Please, if you're here, can you stand up? Odinaka, can we recognize you? She was with Columbia, or he or she is with Columbia SIPA. Are you here? She. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. And she asks, given Nigeria's debt level, are you considering using debt for climate swaps as a debt restructuring strategy? Consequently, what's your energy transition plan for Nigeria? How will you invest in the power and avoid stranded assets? Thank you.
I probably need to consult you about this debt swap. Well, quite frankly, when it comes to the issue of debt, I said Nigerian debt is not as bad as most countries are. But it is very bad because we borrowed for consumption. There's anything wrong with borrowing. What is wrong about borrowing is what you borrowed it for. If you borrow for consumption, you're in a mess. If you borrow for production and investment, good. America as a country today owes over 80% of its GDP as debt. Here. In fact, soon it will be 100%. Debt. And this is the biggest economy in the world, 23 trillion. Yet their debt is huge. The second biggest economy, China, owes over about 50-60% of their GDP in debt. The third biggest economy, Japan, owes 230% of its debt as its GDP. So 230% of it. So you can see everybody is, all the Western world countries, all the G7 countries are at least owing over 50% of their GDP. So there's nothing wrong in debt. Same thing for business and everything. But Japan, everybody knows that, use that resources to keep its economy going. Like America used it to keep its economy going. And Japan today owes the highest amount of US treasuries. So he is owing, she is owing. If you go to her and say, you're owing, you will say, okay, here is where I invested the money, and I can pay you small. You come to him and say, where's my money? He has chopped it. He has used it for... That is the problem. If you invest money, I give you in a country that have invested their debt very well to compare with us as a third world country, Bangladesh. I was in Bangladesh in 2010. The GDP of Bangladesh was about between $110, $115 billion. Their per capita was $747. Their debt was about $45 billion. So they were owing about 36%, 38% of their GDP as debts, 2010. As at that time, Nigerian GDP was 375 billion naira. Our per capita was $2,250. And our debt was about $30 billion. Cumulative, that's local and foreign debts. Today, Bangladesh GDP is about 330. So they've grown, their GDP has gone 3 times. Their per capita is now about 2,000 plus. So it's also moved about 3 times. Their debt has increased to over 100 billion, but it's lower in terms of percentage because their GDP have increased. So they invested it properly. They invested in education, they invested in this. Today, Bangladesh is almost, if not similar, but almost receiving more remittances, repatriation, than Nigeria, because they've educated their more people and some of them have gone export. They are now a major and biggest exporter of clothing in the world, 36 billion. So they earn towards what we earn from oil, from exporting clothing. Now Nigeria, today, our GDP is about 400. Our per capita is now about 1,908. So we've lost about 12% of our per capita. And our debts have increased to about over 100 billion. So that money you borrowed, you dash it to your girlfriend. Sorry, girls, that's not what I mean. But you threw it away. You went to... Don't worry about that. I'm just joking. The money was thrown away. She didn't like that one. No.
We're in America. We're not in Nigeria.
You know why I did this? If I have a very good sister that I always cherish, if I want to annoy her, Chimamanda says something about women, then she would throw everything on the ground and attack me. So I was imagining Chimamanda being here and I said this. He would say to me, why not dash it to the men? Why was he... So what I'm saying that you spent it. You consumed it. That's why it didn't add to your growth. I can show you 3 other countries. And that's what we're saying.
Okay. Final one. Final one? Or 2 more?
2 more. Just 2 more.
2 more.
And then we go to Twitter.
So, somebody who's anonymous says, please tell me, Mr. Obi, you do not have a political backbone as your presidency. If elected, are you going to be bogged down in the legislature as your party does not have elected representatives and senators?
No, it's not true.
What do you have to say about this?
Don't worry yourself. Whoever said it. What we're going to do, let me tell you. You get bogged down if you're doing the wrong thing. If you're doing the wrong thing, I was elected a governor in Anambra State. In the House of Assembly of Anambra State, I barely have maybe 1, if at all, as a member from my party. No senator, no House of Rep member, no local government people came from my party. And I was governor and I succeeded. Once you do the right thing, nobody will know how to deal with you. Those things becomes problem when you're going to do the wrong thing. I'm not in this business, and I say it with all sense of responsibility. I do prayers 24 hours a day. God, do not allow me to dash the faith of the young ones in Nigeria. I must bequeath them. If I have the opportunity, I must bequeath the young ones in Nigeria a better society.
Yes. No, thank you. So we have one more question, but unfortunately, it's going to be kind of threefold. So the first one is, what were your fondest memories from your time at Columbia Business School? Also, Dennis Imoka wants to know, what's your number one priority for your first 100 days in office? And the last one is from the Save Nigeria Group USA, Stephen Osemoje. Please, can we just recognize you real quick? Yeah, there you go. They want to know, will you be attending the 1 Million Man March in Solidarity in Nigeria and New York, October 1st, 2022? Thank you.
I'll really answer the one of Columbia Business School. You know, Columbia was one of those early business schools that I attended. That was in the 90s, in the early 90s. And it was a Columbia Business School that I learned that when you are served food, it is more expensive than when you have a buffet. So you pay for the service. So I had a friend who somebody gave us what I consider little or nothing in the plate. And he said, we're going to pay. And I said, suppose if we go to take the food out, he said, we won't pay. I said, so this food is all over the place. I said, well, I don't forget that. Because I thought in my own place, the other one is more expensive than when you're served. Because this is a la carte. This one is a buffet. But, you know, but it was a very good, interesting place to be. You know, I wish I would come back again to be part of it. And I wish all the students, it's a fantastic place to be. And of course, it's a good name to have as you pass through. You know, it's one of those places that I cherish, that I pass through, even if it's for one day.
Thank you.
The other questions is to say thank you.
Thank you. That's it. All right.
I think we've come to the end of it, can we?
No. We have some.
So there are some questions from Twitter.
Just one.
No questions from we're not going to take any questions from, sorry.
All right, we have one question from Twitter, and he says...
Julius, answer, carry on. We're
Okay.
listening.
I am Akeem Adenuga, tweeting from Ibadan, Nigeria. Sir, I would like to ask you, what do you think about the Green Energy Initiative the current APC administration signed Nigeria up to, considering your policies intend to pursue aggressive production and industrialization?
I didn't understand you. Can you help me?
Sure. This is a question from Akeem Adenuga. He's tweeting from Ibadan in Nigeria. And what he's asking is, I would like to ask, what do you think about the Green Energy Initiative that has been administered by the APC administration, considering your policies to pursue aggressive production and industrialization in Nigeria?
Quite frankly, you know, there has been a lot of talk about green energy and climate change and everything. I'm not very vast. I've read a lot about them, and we will all consider it in whatever we're doing. But quite frankly, I'm going to be aggressive in other areas than in some of the things that are coming out on the issue of climate change. We're going to deal with it. We're going to give it attention. But these things are not more important, as important as securing the people, because you can't be talking about climate change when people are taking cover from bombs. Huh? I might be wrong, but huh? You can't go to
That's it.
You can't go to Afghanistan or Somalia and be talking about climate change. We have to be alive first. Then we deal with the climate. But we are going to consider everything. Number 2.
Oh, you want another one? Great. Okay.
The next one.
Next, Julius, next question.
Okay. Mic, please. All right, we have one more question from, her name is Bolanle Sobuwale. I'm a British-born Nigerian who lives in the UK. I'm a child protection social worker, and I want to know what your plans are in relation to the safeguarding of vulnerable children in the society.
This I can tell you, I will not have one child abuser, one sex offender, one rapist go free. The things I'm going to give, the things I'm going to be aggressive about, and I will not allow one to go free. They must be punished by the law. And the law will be very, very stringent on them. This is not allowed. You know, because it's important for the society. Number 3.
Someone wants to know about diaspora voting.
Somebody wants to know about diaspora voting. 2023 is the last time Nigerian diaspora will not vote. You cannot.
That's the last question.
You cannot exclude your best brain from voting. It's impossible. If Angola can do it, Ghana can do it, South Africa can do it, Kenya can do it, Nigeria must do it. Next one. Thank you. Now we've dealt with the issue of all the questions. I know there's people here who want desperate to ask. And if you look at it, we've covered virtually everything. I don't think there's still anything remaining. Do you still think there's anything remaining?
I'm sure there's not.
He spoke about security.
We've done everything. We will deal with.
Do you want to take that question? Do you want to take it from us?
One, just one.
Let me give it a microphone.
Only one.
Just one. Just one. Last one. Just one.
Sir, I salute you, sir. I know you're going to do all these things only when you get there. How can you secure the vote? How can you stop rigging that Nigerians are known for? Thank you, sir.
Let him answer. It's not a question. I have to say something to you. You know my father. I just want to say. Okay, I can answer. Okay. So all of you, I guess you guys don't know me. Hi, my name is Chioma Chukuma. My father died in 2016, and unfortunately, the family decided that I would not be able to attend because I was in the US. But Peter would be here, attended my father's funeral while I wasn't able to attend. And I just want you to know that my family is very grateful to you. I want to let you know that whether or not you become president, you are our president. I want to let you know that I really appreciate it.
Just bring him over here.
Only you.
So, yes, sir. So I want to ask you, sir, because at this moment, we realize in Nigeria about employment oppression, sir, especially when it happens to the students and people looking for employment. We're talking about people harassed sexually by the directors and people in power. That is why I need you to come up with something to stop this, especially with the training that we give them sexual training certificates.
Okay, we have stopped.
Okay.
Let me assure you people.
And that's the last question.
Let me assure all that in my concluding remark, I thank my sister that came out to talk about the father. Thank you. But rest assured, these are things I do. And like I said, we all have to care about each other. And when somebody was talking about people who are being exploited because they are looking for a job, some of you should know, before I became governor, I was chairman of a bank. I was a director in two. I was actually a director. I've been a director in about nearly 10 quoted companies. And I've been chairman of Securities and Exchange Commission of Nigeria. So I had a background, and all these are the things we were trying to stop. So be rest assured that I'm committed to all this, and I assure you people, right now I'm running to go to the airport, to travel to the next place, in all this. But let me appeal. In all this we did today, even when you cannot vote, it could be a strong voter support, advocacy, because those people you are sending money to are voters. Those people who are not sick that you're sending money to, those your parents that are working hard to be able to pay your school fees, this is the time to tell them that it's something nice will happen. So it is important that you know that you have to do the right things. I'm looking at my sisters there. They didn't tell me they were here. I've got two wonderful sisters there. When you talk about Dora Akunyele, I have two of our daughters there. They are wonderful people. Their mother is my sister. So it's important that they know that what we are doing is the right thing. We cannot continue to do this. The country cannot continue to go the way it's going today. We must stop it. Your country is collapsing. It's going down every day. We are now among the most terrorized countries of the world. We are now among the kidnapping capitals of the world. We are now we have the highest out-of-school children. We have overtaken India in infant mortality. The list can go on and on and on. It is you that will stop it. The reason why we have all these problems is cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. And this is the time to stop it. So 2023 election will not be about tribe. No. Don't vote for me because I'm from Southeast, I'm an Igbo man. It will not be about religion. If you go to the north, it is not safe. They don't buy bread cheaper, yet the northerner is there. It is not about religion. The northerners don't buy bread cheaper. The Muslims or Christians, nobody buys bread cheaper. Nobody have uninterrupted resistance. So it should not be about religion. The 2023 election should not be about my turn. It's nobody's turn. It's not going to be it's not about anybody's turn. It's not anybody's turn. So it is not we are not It's not a chieftaincy title. It is not this thing. It is about the election. It will not be about connection. It will not be about connection. These are the processes. When people tell you that P2B doesn't have structure, let me tell you. No. The structure that I'm talking about is structure of criminality, structure of corruption, structure that have kept Nigeria where it is today. That is the structure I want to dismantle. So, 2023 election 2023 will be about character we can trust, competence, capacity, commitment to do the right thing. Thank you and God bless you.
If we can please give His Excellency P2B a warm round of applause, please. If we can please give the Columbia Business School students a round of applause, please. If we can please give the Columbia Law students a round of applause, please. And I'm going to ask if everyone continue to be seated, please. We still have a vote of thanks. Before we get to the vote of thanks, I just want to remind everyone that if you'd like to support Mr. P2B and other candidates like him, Naija We Can is a vehicle for you to do so. As we said before, today is not about campaigning. Today is not about fundraising. It's about raising the conversation and the level of discourse. And you'll hear from us via email, via text on how you can contribute to P2B and similar candidates like P2B through the Naija We Can PAC. At this time, I'd like to welcome Valentine Ozibo to the stage for a vote of thanks. He's a former president of Transcorp, as well as a former governorship candidate of Anambra State. I'd also like to welcome Professor Pat Utomi as well to the stage. Prof? Prof.
Good afternoon, New York. I want to say that you have just been a phenomenal part of history. This afternoon, we are starting a process that will mobilize all of you to liberate the black man from 500 years of servitude. I want to thank you for being part of something special. And Val here will tell you how grateful we are to you, because standing there, I was feeling like Simeon. Simeon, who was waiting for the birth of the Redeemer. The time has come for us to liberate ourselves, and the moment of redemption is here. And we thank you, we appreciate you, and Val will tell you how grateful we are. Thank you.
Thank you, New York. We have reserved the best for the last. New Yorkers, you guys are incredible. We are grateful to all of you, especially the law and business students of Columbia School, the leadership, Nexus, and Osula, and all the presidents of the different faculties. God bless you, God bless you. What I can assure you is that P2B, Your Excellency, ticks all the right boxes. When it comes to boxes of competency, the character, he is there. If it's about the process of emergence, he is there. And let me also assure you, by the special grace of God, he's going to be the next president of Nigeria. We are not campaigning yet. We haven't seen anything yet. We are simply engaging and consulting. Campaign starts September 28th, and we will be back again. And we assure you that Nigeria will witness a new dawn. He was the best governor Nigeria has ever produced, and he will be the best president Nigeria has ever produced. God bless you, and thank you.